with the banners. Hey, welcome to Mark's Days Creative Differences, a monthly live stream where I talk to writer friends about those little things that make a big difference to their craft and careers, in the hope that we can give readers some insight to their creative process and writers and other creative folk some practical advice they can actually use. I'm Mark Stay, author, screenwriter and podcaster, and if you're joining us live, feel free to ask questions in the comments and take part in the conversation. A big thank you as always to Dominic Curry for his jingle. Let's just hear that again. It's got a slight Pink Floyd flavour. Superb. Very relevant. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But first, dear listener, dear viewer, a quick update on what actually happened last week. We did the live stream. We started the live stream last Thursday, and it was all going so incredibly well. And then my internet completely went kaput. And I mean, we live in the middle of nowhere, absolutely in the middle of nowhere. All I could get was like one blob of 3G on my phone. That was it. I couldn't even get into the StreamYard to shut down the streamer. I ended up having to drive to Whitstable where I could get a decent 5G signal just to apologize. And that was like an hour later. I thought it was the weather or something, or some strange atmospheric conditions. Actually turned out all of Starlink, which is the satellite thing that we use to get the internet out here in the sticks, all of Starlink had completely gone down, and we didn't get it back till like 11:30 that evening. So, you know, there are conspiracy theories that Elon Musk was using it to scupper some sort of Ukrainian, military thing. Personally, I just think he unplugged something to charge his love beads. Anyway, here we go. Gila's here. Lovely to see Gila here. Everyone's sounding off in Watford. Gila's just got married as well, I think. So happy wedding to you. Is that what people say? Yes, it's lovely to see you all here today. Oh, just to point out, Emily, who would normally help me out, she's tuning in from St Pancras Station. She's had a hell of a journey back here from up north, and I'm being helped out tonight by my son George. Here he is.
Hello.
Goodbye. Right. So George, as you can probably tell, has been running. It will be looking after the comments. Has been doing things like this and this. Very mature. I don't think.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's come from your account. That's what I'm saying.
How do I get rid of that? Nicola's here. Previous guest Nicola May is here as well. Lovely to see so many of you people, and thank you for joining us again. But let's meet our special guest, who's coming on for the second time. Oh, Anne Woodward is here. Oh, before we get to our special guest, a very special hello to Anne Woodward, whose book came out this week, The Art of Murder, available in all good bookshops. Look at that cover; it's amazing. Do check it out. Hello, Anne. Thanks so much for coming. I saw you last time, so I prepared this for this time. Anyway, on to our special guest, who I can see backstage and sort of looking at her watch and tapping at it, because she's already done this once before. And I'm told that when I went off air, she was brilliant. She was like improvising for about 10 minutes talking about her book. So my guest is the internationally best-selling and award-winning author and screenwriter of many novels, including The Memory Book, The Summer of Impossible Things, my personal favorite, The Girl at the Window, and her latest novel, Never Tear Us Apart, is out now. And under the name Stella Hayward, she'll be publishing The Good Boy in September. We've also been working together on a few projects, which you can ask us about later. All been huge fun. It's only that Rowan Coleman. Hey, Rowan, welcome.
Hi.
To the Creative Business Podcast. How are you?
Ages. How are you?
It has been ages, yes. Is this the third time today we've been online, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Emily. Small Emily.
There we go. Brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for coming back on. I hear you did a sterling job last time. Now, yeah. I mean, have you ever thought of doing stand-up? Ever thought of doing improv? No?
No, but I have thought many times about just droning on about my own books for an indefinite period of time. So yeah. I was well equipped for that.
You should come to some of my events. Now, look, let's jump right in, because you got this amazing new book. Amazing. And, oh, look at that cover. Never Tear Us Apart. which is, as I understand it, I've not read this one, I've read the other one, is a time slip novel. It takes us to 1942, the Siege of Malta. And as I understand it, there's a very personal connection to this book as well. So tell us about Never Tear Us Apart.
Oh, wow. Yes, it is.
Oh,
but-
God.
Oh, am
Sorry,
I
you're back. You're back. I keep going back. It's all going so well.
You're such a pro. Yes. So, oh well, thanks, Mike. Shackle. It is a personal book because, Mark, I am half Maltese myself, but unfortunately, I don't have a relationship with my dad, and so I've never really known anything about my Maltese family or actually Malta, and I'd never even been to Malta until I started to research this book. And the starting point for Never Tear Us Apart is actually a woman who is trying to come to terms with her estranged non-relationship with her father, and that's when she travels to Malta. And when she gets there, she discovers some quite miraculous and amazing and somewhat magical things to do with the ancient temple culture that was in Malta about 8,000 years ago. And so it's a very sexy love story, but it is also a World War II action adventure, and it is also a sort of time travel twisty-turny plot, and there's a little bit of quantum physics.
A little bit of quantum physics goes a very, very long way. Oh, Anne says, can't wait to read this. Got it for my birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, Anne Woodward. Thank you.
Brilliant. Now, this there's also a connection with a family photo that you discovered, which you can put on screen there now. Which is, tell us about this.
So this is my dad is actually in that photo. He's a very good-looking young man sitting behind my grandmother on the left, I think, as you're looking at the screen. That's my grandmother, Maria Stella Borg. My dad's sitting next to her, and then my aunt and uncle are sitting in the foreground, and my great uncle and his wife sitting behind them. And that is the only picture I have of them in Malta. I think they were probably where they lived, which is in Salima, on the swimming rocks around Salima, before it got massively built up and glamorous. And that's one of the very few photos that I have of my grandmother, who I never knew, unfortunately. She died when she was 50, so a long time before I was born. And part of this journey into this novel has been trying to find out about her and where she came from and how she ended up marrying my granddad and ending up tipped up from beautiful Malta into the West End of London. And I sometimes wonder what it must have been like for her. Because it wasn't glamorous West End of London. It was like right at the end of the tube West End of London.
Well, yeah, and also post-war, there'd have been a lot of craters about, so
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But you went to Malta to research this. So what's your process when you go to a place to research? Do you have like a shopping list of things to do, or do you just step out of the hotel and go, right, where do I go now?
I was a bit grumpy about it, actually. because believe it or not, because the island itself is kind of sort of tied up with my own feelings about my relationship with my father, and so I was like, well, but I expect I'm going to hate it and it's going to be rubbish, I won't like it. But when I turned up, it was the opposite. I did actually feel weirdly immediately connected to it. And my shopping list is, I don't really have a sort of specific set of things for this book, because I first visited before I started writing it, really. If I've written a book already, like with Summer of Impossible Things, I knew that I wanted to go to various locations in Brooklyn. But for this book, I was just getting a sense of the island for the first time. And so I just let it lead me. And it's very small. It's about the size of the Isle of Wight. And so the first thing that drew me were the ancient temples, and there are many Mesolithic temples on the island that are absolutely magical and fascinating, and that kind of was like my first step on a very organic journey into putting all the components of this book together.
Fantastic. And you mentioned quantum physics there. Now, without alienating the listeners and the people who are joining us today, because you hear quantum physics, you go, oh, this is going to be hard. How does that fit into the story?
Well, you may remember, Mark, about a year ago, 2 years ago, I sent you an article. This is funny, viewers, because like 2 months ago, he sent it back to me as if he discovered it. Anyway,
I sent it back with notes, mansplaining it to you.
Yes. Oh, look, this is an interesting thing that I have just discovered. Anyway, the article. It's actually there's a link to it on my Substack if you're interested in reading it. But it's about quantum consciousness and the idea of quantum consciousness, or the notion is that consciousness is comes in a quantum wave through the mechanics of our brains, through microtubules, and that if that is true, then our consciousness can and does entangle with the whole of the universe, and that then means that there's a potential to experience other realities that you may experience them as dreams or hallucinations, but maybe they are real, maybe they are out there. And also it means that all of time, which we experience in a very linear way, is kind of collapsed into this everything everywhere all at once kind of scenario. And when I first read the article, a friend of mine had my friend had died. He was very young, he was 17. And I showed this to his mum, and we found a lot of comfort in it, because there was the idea that you could still connect with your loved one or another version of them in a completely different reality. So that's kind of what I have taken from that research that is happening right now. It's really, really interesting. There is a lot of really interesting papers on it. They explain it properly. And obviously I'm a novelist, so...
No, that was fantastic. You clearly understood more of it than I did, which isn't saying much, to be honest. And just to warn you, I'm working on something at the moment that is blatantly stealing that theory as well. So it's yeah.
Oh, you're such a copycat, man.
You beat me to publication though, because you understood it, which hardly seems fair. Now that's Never Tear Us Apart. There we go. That is out now. That's available in all good bookshops, as they say, and getting fantastic reviews. Let's talk about something that's coming out in September, if I'm right, which is The Good Boy, which is under the name Stella Hayward. You mentioned a Stella earlier. So, and now I've seen you refer to this as your crazy dog book. So tell us more about The Good Boy.
Yeah, so The Good Boy was the crazy dog book for most of its existence while I was writing it, and I wrote it out of contract, speculative, and it was because I'd had I think if there's some writers watching this, that they might identify with the fact that it's been a really difficult few years for a lot of
Do you
writers.
think? Tell me more.
And in my 23 years of being published, it's been the worst few years that I've ever experienced. And I just kind of really needed to access joy from writing again. And so I thought I would just write something for me. I am a very dedicated pet parent. I have 3 dogs, and I continuously narrate my dogs' inner thoughts on a monologue. I mean, everything. They oh, just going to have a look outside now. Oh, just a picture. I do that all day long. And I thought, what would my pet say to me if they could talk? And that is the premise for The Good Boy, essentially. It's set in Scarborough in North Yorkshire, where I live. And it's about Jeannie, whose nan is a seaside psychic, and who has always claimed that she has magical powers. Jeannie does not believe her. So when on the eve of her 30th birthday, her nan grants her a wish as a birthday present and says, be careful what you wish for, because it cannot be reversed. Jeannie doesn't pay any attention. And then at midnight, she casually wishes that her dog Rory was a human so that her parents would get off her back about being alone. And next morning, she wakes up to find a 6 foot tall, naked blonde man in her flat. Very confused blonde man. Now, I have to stress, Mark, because it's important. There's no dog on human action here. Rory is not into that kind of thing. Thank you very much. He's asexual, neutered. He's not interested. But what he is interested in is helping his friend, Jeannie, who he loves and who rescued him. He's now interested in rescuing her because he's seen how unhappy she is and he hasn't been able to do anything about it. But now he can.
Yeah,
so
I've read this and it is so funny, really funny. And we were talking about it's got all the ingredients for a classic rom-com and also a great rom-com movie as well. So it is really good fun. But you're writing under the name I like what you were saying there about the fact that you just wrote for joy. You weren't in contract. There was no one sort of drumming their fingers waiting for you to deliver this. Did you, does that sort of free you up mentally, just thinking, I'm just going to write this for myself? Is that different to something you're under contract for? Do you have a different approach to that?
I think it's a sort of double-edged sword. So I really did love writing it. But I didn't have anybody to, and normally I have somebody in my life to go, no, you're being too crazy now. And I didn't have that. And so hence the Crazy Dog book came into being. I loved it. It just made me laugh the whole time. It still makes me laugh. The other day I did an interview as Rory for a blog. I just laughed my socks off the whole way through. So I'm really pleased I did it. It made me feel really happy, and I really enjoyed writing the follow-up book as well. But I don't know what will happen next. So I think that's the I think you never know what's going to happen next as an author, especially these days. So whatever you're writing, whether it's under contract or speculative, you have to love it. You have to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, what's the point, honestly?
Now, you also you've written under a few pseudonyms, but the Bella Ellis books, the Bronte mysteries. I'm just saying it's fascinating that you can do that, because I've got such a massive ego. I want my name on the cover. I put all the bloody work in. I want my name on the cover. So, but it does allow you to change gears. So you got the Bella Ellis with the Bronte mysteries, and Anne says it's so nice to hear your joy, Rowan. Yes, exactly. And the Bronte mysteries are very different from what you've written before. Again, a very different challenge. So can you tell us a bit about those and how they came about?
Yeah, so I love the Bronte mysteries, and I'm hoping that I will be adding to that soon. So the Bronte mysteries imagine that before they were world-renowned authors, the Bronte sisters were amateur detectives. And there's no evidence to suggest that they were amateur detectives, but also there's no evidence to suggest that they weren't. So they are a series of actually very carefully biographically accurate and historically accurate novels, because I love the Brontes. I'm a massive Bronte geek, about their lives, but within that there are these mysteries that they solve. And also it's a kind of more of a upbeat and joyful take on Bronte fiction, which is often very dour and sad and tragic, and I just wanted them to have some fun. And this idea came about, typically for me, about 2 years before Cozy Crime got really massive. And before they could make the cover look like Richard Osmond. So right. But it has been an incredible experience for me. It was published in America. It's currently under option and development for TV. And also it kind of gave me a sort of really fun experience with the Bronte fandom, which is global. And I also just because I love the Bronte sisters so much, it was just really fun to sort of inhabit a fictional version of them, and to make them, you know, they are witty, they're funny, they're siblings, they fight, they have opinions about each other's outfits, and I really, really, really loved writing them. So I'm hoping to add a couple to that. And in October, I'm going to Brussels, where Charlotte and Emily both went to school in Brussels for a while, and Charlotte developed a probably unrequited love for her tutor, Monsieur Heger. So I'm going to go and talk to the Bronte Society of Brussels in October about the Bronte mysteries, and that would be really fun as well. So I think I love it, even though it didn't quite hit the Richard Osman train at the right moment. It's given me, again, it's just given me enormous joy, and I've met many dozens of brilliantly interesting people because of it.
I think the lesson for writers to learn from that is, you said very early on, you said there's no evidence that they did do this, but there's no evidence that they didn't. Which is exactly what Ridley Scott said at the beginning of Gladiator, where the Romans have flaming arrows. The historian said, well, there's actually no evidence they had flame. And he said, well, there's no evidence that they didn't. So he put them in anyway, because it's visually stunning. But I think if you can find, you know, a gap in history where something might have happened and take ownership of it, and if it has a community like the Bronte community, that's your IP, you know, because publishers and agents, they're obsessed with IP. That is a built-in audience, you know. So if you can find something that does that.
You know me, Mark, I'm really modest, but loads of people have copied me after that. Oh, Jane Austen investigating, you know, Pete, Samuel Pepys, loads of people. But the thing is about those series of books is that they stick to the historical facts, and we only know 5% roughly of what the Bronte sisters got up to day to day. So I was able to fill everything else in with fiction. Okay.
Ooh, got a question from Kate Baker here. Kate, also a fantastic author. Second book coming soon, or you're working on it, Kate? I know that. Kate says, hi, Rowan. Can I ask whether you had to inform any Bronte trust or family members that you were writing the series? So was there, you know, because sometimes, you know, with the Sherlock Holmes books, although they're out of copyright, it helps to get the Sherlock Holmes, you know, Society stamp of approval. I remember we did that with the Anthony Horowitz book that we did. Was there anyone you had to go to for sort of approval?
No, there are no direct Bronte descendants, as we know. They all died without issue. There is the Bronte Society, but they don't, you know, all of the work is out of copyright, long out of copyright now. I did work with the Parsonage, which is incredibly brilliant and encouraging museum, and loves people to come and work with them and show them their library. They'll show them your library. They'll get you out anything you want to look at.
Wow.
It's amazing. And they're extremely supportive of the books. They hosted me for events and stuff like that. But and they're very, I think they're also very accepting of different takes on the family and the literature and the legacy, whether it's a rewrite of one of the novels or another novel about the Bronte families, like Karen Powell wrote a brilliant novel called 15 Wild Decembers, which I highly recommend, which is about Emily. And they're just very, as a whole, the Bronte Parsonage and the Society are very, very supportive on the one hand. I mean, I did get quite a negative review in one of the Bronte journals, but then after that I got a very good one as well. So
yeah, I guess that's the danger, isn't it? You're wading into where all the opinionated people live. You know, there are experts who will say, well, that couldn't have happened, blah 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 blah. But I guess that's the price you pay, though, isn't it?
It wasn't so much that, Mark, because I am myself very anal about the kind of like getting the details right here in these instances. But it was just the kind of irreverence of it that some people found very upsetting. But Emily and Charlotte and Anne, actually, all three of them would have told those people to lighten up.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. I mean, this is it. You know, it's your take. This is the thing. It's your take, and that's what's unique about it. That sounds fantastic. I saw as well you're going to be running a Curtis Brown course soon. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, come join me on my course on how to write commercial fiction and romantic fiction. It starts in October, and it is really a sort of, it's just a sort of 10-week course on getting your commercial novel premise into shape. Romantic fiction and commercial fiction are the two main areas that we're focusing on. We'll be looking at plot, we'll be looking at character, we'll be looking at pace, we'll be looking at the necessary ingredients to make a engaging and addictive commercial novel. And you get feedback from me, and as we all know, I'm a genius. Did I say I wasn't a artist?
Well,
I'm very good at that sort of thing. That sort of thing is I'm very good at.
I haven't got a link for that now, but if you're listening back to the edit or watching us on YouTube, I will put a link below so you can find that. I will. But Rowan's here now, and in a minute we're going to be asking Rowan my regular questions. But before then, we've got a wee commercial break. So let's talk about the Green Room. Twice a month, I run live sessions on Zoom where you can ask me questions about the craft of writing, your work in progress, or the business of publishing. The sessions are fun, informal, chatty. You can send me the questions in advance. They'll be recorded live and saved on Ko-fi for exclusive access to Green Room supporters. I'll pop a link to the Green Room on Ko-fi in the comments below later on, and in the show notes if you're listening back on the podcast. And I'm running this via Ko-fi, where you can join by clicking on the Green Room membership tier for just £20 a month. There's no long-term commitment with the Ko-fi. You can just support for 1 month, dip in and out, or for as long as you like. My goal is to be able to give supporters advice that is going to make a real difference to their writing and career, because the way I see it, having worked in this industry as a salesperson, bookseller and author for over 30 years, I've made every mistake, so you don't have to. So the next Green Room session, next one is tomorrow night, actually. We've got a 200-word workshop session. We're going to be talking about point of view. If you're listening back to that, you've missed it. It's too late, but not my friend. On Wednesday, 13th of August, we got a Q&A session where people send me questions in advance. It's good old-fashioned informal chit-chat. And then on Wednesday, the 20th of August, they're not always on Wednesdays, we have a 200-word workshop session. That's where people send me 200 words of their work in progress. We give it a little critique and have lots of fun and hopefully become better writers at the other end of it. Next part of the commercial break, my books. You can buy them. Oh, there we go. I've got books. You can get them from all bookstores if you want, or if you want a signed and dedicated copy, you can come straight to my store at witchesofwoodville.com. You can find them all there. The latest book, The Corn Bride, is out now, and then I'm going to have There's the End of Magic there, and there. Oh, wrong button. I've got The End of Magic, The End of Gods. I'm going to have some exciting news about The End of Gods very, very soon as well. So, right, back to your regular programming, folks. Hello again, Rowan. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, fine, thanks. Yeah.
So let's go through the regular questions that I ask of my guests every month, starting with, what small thing has made a big difference to your creative process?
I think the thing that's made the biggest difference to my creative process is forgiving myself for not... for sometimes going quite slowly, for sometimes just doing a small bit at a time. I am a late diagnosed, unmedicated ADHD woman, and I used to think, I was convinced that I had a very strict writing regime and sat at my desk from 9 to 5 and wrote every day. And I didn't realize that this was in fact not true until I took my kids with me to a book event when they were quite young. And I was saying this, and I heard this laughter from the back of the hall. I was like, what? Why are you laughing, darling? You don't do that. What you do is faff around all day on the internet. When I thought about it, I thought, that is true. That is all I do. So I sort of just think, well, if you can't, sometimes you have to write when you have to write, because we all have multiple things that we're juggling, proper jobs and teaching courses and all that stuff. And sometimes you just have to go, right, well, this is my time to write and I have to write. But if I can't be that disciplined, I just say, all right, well, it's not happening today, but it'll happen tomorrow. Or you only wrote 10 words, but that's fine, because that's 10 more words and you'll add to it tomorrow. And I sort of just let myself off the hook and I don't let myself feel shame about it anymore, which is a big part of growing up with neurodiversity, undiagnosed neurodiversity particularly, is kind of constantly feeling that you're not trying hard enough. So I sort of try to tell myself now that I am, in fact, trying hard enough. And it does somehow work out in the end. I don't know how, but it does.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is be kind to yourself and don't invite your kids to book events. So.
I mean, I don't know if what's worse, that one, or when they came when they were a little bit older and they were sitting in the front row on switches.
Next question. What's the thing that makes you think you're ready to start writing on a project?
Oh no, you're frozen. Say it again.
What's the thing that makes you think that you're ready to start writing on a project?
Fear. No, I think you get a sort of build up of, for me, it's like you get a build up of excitement about something, and I like to try and play chicken with that until it's like I'm really, really excited, or play chicken with the deadline, as I often call it, and then just kind of like whoosh, like Sonic the Hedgehog, and off I go. So that's basically what I do. Is I sort of hold back until I get a build of enthusiasm.
And how do you know when you're done?
I don't think you're ever done, actually, and I don't think I ever know when I'm done. And so what I do is take it as far as I can possibly take it on my own, and then I'll seek feedback, and eventually, hopefully, it will reach an editor who will tell me that it's done. But I never myself stick a pin in it like that, and never say this is it. When I get to the end of a draft, I will write the end because it's pleasing, and makes me feel like I've achieved something. But I never actually think it's the end until somebody else makes a decision. Once I typed the motherfucking end, forgot to delete it before I sent it to the editor, so that was good.
Folks, if you've got questions for Rowan, just pop them in the comments, and we can do those at the end as well.
Yeah, please have questions.
How do you remember that idea that you have at, say, 3 in the morning?
So you know me, Mark. We know each other quite well now, and you know that I will have at least one idea a day, at least.
Oh, at least, yeah.
And Mark knows this because I frequently text them to him, going, "Let's do this," and he will be like politely going, "Yes, but I also have other commitments." So,
yeah, top of the other 8 projects we're working on as well. Yeah,
yeah.
From that.
So actually, it's a problem because I do put them all in. If I have one, I put it immediately in my notes, and therefore I have several pages of notes with crazy ideas in them, like a fashion model investigate crimes in post-war Paris.
Don't just give them away.
Well, that's a good one, right? I mean,
yeah, that's a good one. But it's all on the notes app. It's all on the notes app on your phone. They're just going straight in there, are they?
Yeah. So I can go there if I'm like, if I stop for an idea, I go and have a look and see if there's anything in there. I will be honest though, 95% of the time they are mental. So, but that 5%.
Listeners, I can attest to that. What's the?
I always think they're really, really good when I initially have them. I always think this is it. It's a stroke of genius. That's why I text them.
Yeah. I haven't forgot that you told me off for using full stops at the end of WhatsApp messages, like I'm some teenager or something.
That's very passive aggressive.
They are.
What?
I bet everyone's with me. Yeah, George.
I'll ask you for something, and then you go, okay, fully spelled out with a full stop at the end.
Yeah.
It's passive aggressive.
No, it's the bloody English language, is what it is.
It works for the thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up, very passive aggressive.
How is that? It's a thumbs up is the most positive thing in the world.
This is sarcastic, isn't it? It's like fine, full stop.
Fine. Yeah, how about that for a gesture? Sorry, that was to George.
You all saw it.
Next question. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your writing career, apart from asking me to work on something?
That's not a mistake because that's fun. Well, actually, I've thought about this, and I think my biggest mistake is possibly my biggest mistake, but also at the same time has given me the most amount of joy and commercial success, honestly, is because I have so many ideas and because I do jump from genre to genre to genre. And I think if I'd stayed in my lane that I started in, which was kind of a women's fiction romantic comedy with a bit of emotional depth, I think if I'd stayed in that lane, I may well have had a sort of more steady and secure career. And it was probably a mistake not to do that. But unfortunately for me, I can't help myself. So
there's also an argument that you might have been bored out of your mind, right? Essentially writing the same thing
well,
over and over.
yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly how I felt, and that's why I didn't want to do it, and also why when I have had big successes, for example, with books like The Memory Book and We Are All Made of Stars, which are two books I absolutely love, I didn't want to write anything similar to after I'd written those two books.
Yeah.
And then I wrote Summer of Impossible Things, which was, was really hit the wave at the right time, and that was a big success. Yeah. But you don't really know what's going to work and what's not going to work, and that is and you're asking your readership to come with you on a different journey from the one that they might be used to. So is it a mistake? I don't know, but I don't think, in terms of my career, I think possibly, maybe.
Yeah. You'd be rich, but would you be happy, Rowan?
I mean, I don't know. Would I be rich? That's the question. No, that's the thing. You see, I do believe in zero regrets. My Claire McIntosh said something really interesting when I was interviewing her a few years ago, and I was asking about decision making, and she said the thing is once you've made a decision, you've made it. You just have to work from the consequences of that decision. There's no point in regretting it, and so I actually have really taken that to heart, Claire McIntosh, and that's kind of like that's what one of my mottos. The other one is what would Charlotte Bronte do?
What would she do?
She'd bloody write Jane Eyre. That's what she'd do, Mark. Both her sisters got book deals, Mark. Both of them got book deals with the publisher, and her book was rejected. What did she do? She wrote Jane Eyre in about 9 weeks.
Wow. That's good work.
I know. That's how I would have gone to bed with a share-size arrow. She wrote Jane Eyre.
What's the best happy accident of your writing career?
Gosh, what's the best happy? There's 2 occasions when I have really happily hit the zeitgeist, and that was with The Memory Book and actually 3 occasions. So with The Accidental Mother, which came out in 2005, and The Memory Book and Summer of Impossible Things, I have happily hit the zeitgeist at the right time. And that's so you can't account for it. And it's just really lovely when that does happen, because I think that's the thing about writing, is that you have to be working and writing and doing your best work to be in the right place at the right time for that little sparkle of luck. But we can't do anything about the sparkle of luck. We just have to hope that it does favor us from time to time, as long as we're doing the best that we can do. We just have to hope that we're under that lucky star.
Yeah. You just have to keep, well, as I put it, keep banging your head against the wall until one of you cracks.
I mean, yes, and that's one one way of putting it, Mark, slightly less poetic.
And there we see the contrast in our styles.
I think, well, is there a question from Kate? How have you found your writing collaborations compared with any previous joint ventures to create fiction? Oh,
answer this very, very carefully. My fingers poised over the exit button.
Kate is just delightful. So actually, my main collaborator is with Mark Stay, your friendly host. We've written now 2 movie scripts together and 1.5 novels. Well, 1 novel complete and 1 currently in development.
Actually, a third movie that we tried as a TV pilot and now might be doing as a movie again. Yeah.
Yes, that's really good. We need to get back to that one.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So we've been writing together for, I would say, 6 years, Mark.
5 or 6 years of lockdown, wasn't it? When, the first one sort of came along, because that was a script based on one of your short stories, which I don't know if we're allowed to talk. I've mentioned it, I'm sure, on the previous podcast a few times, and it's we've been paid for things, and things have happened, and it's looking for a director and stuff like that. So yeah. But shall we talk about
Hannah Waddingham? Because I would like her to be starring it. So if anybody knows Hannah Waddingham, could you just give her a
step forward?
Yeah.
Make yourself known.
Yeah.
Should we talk about how we work? Because it is all, because you're up in Scarborough, I'm down in Kent, and what generally happens is we'll have an online meeting like this. I'll hit record, you'll talk for about 20 minutes, and then I take notes.
That is not an accurate representation of what happens. Okay. We meet like this, right? So at the moment we're planning a sequel to a novel that we've written together, and we meet like this, and we're working out the plot, and so we back and forth and kind of work out the ideas and where we want the arc to go, and we collaborate very directly on that. And then I talk for 20 minutes and you write it down.
Yeah, so it's a lot of forth and not a lot of back. No, it's a good process, because these are generally these are always your ideas. So you'll come to me and say, I've got an idea, funnily enough. And then out of the dozen that you send me in a day, we'll go, that one's good. And then we start working on it. And then and it's, recording the meeting is essential, because we will just talk completely freely. And some of the meetings are very, very short. I mean, some of the ones we've done 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, but we get a lot in that. And then I'll write the notes up, I'll put them in a shared doc or whatever, and then we'll meet the next day and just pick up where we left off. And it's just become part of the day. And the novel that we've written together is in first person present tense. So we switch from character to character. So you've written the female characters, I've written the male characters, and sort of batted them back and forth. And it was really, really good fun. It was really good fun, because again, it's that the pressure was off, it's and it's
and we just
and that is
laugh, don't we?
Yeah, it's a good laugh, and it is one that's probably going to come out under a pen name, because it is very different to anything either of us has done as well. That's the other thing. It's not sort of treading on the toes of what you do or what I do or whatever.
No, it's completely different.
Yeah. One we're probably going to self-pub as well. But yeah.
We both read it. We read the first one recently because we're now planning a sequel. And I tell you what, it's bloody good. And
it is.
I'm a modest person. It's really good.
Yeah. It is really, really good. It's tonally, like I say, very different, very, very different. So we shall see. My final regular question. I'm not even sure I should even bother asking this, but is there a character story swirling in your mind that you want to write, but you're not ready to write yet? Now, this is someone who's having a dozen ideas a day.
All right, there's so many ideas that I really, really want to write. I want to write a female-led action Viking novel.
Wow.
And I also would like to write a horror novel set in Appalachia. And I have sort of written another thing I can't talk about, just in case. And what else? What else do I really I really want to write a scary horror movie, actually. I mean, we have already written, we've co-written one, but I would like to try and do that like solo, just to see if I can. And I'm trying. That's what I'm doing. I am trying. It's part of my writing challenge, is to do that, just to see if I can, without you telling me what to do. And I mean that in a very supportive way, very supportive and nurturing. You're very supportive and nurturing. I'm just trying to see if I can sort of take those first teetering toddler steps.
No, absolutely. You definitely should. What were having worked on a few screenplays now, what's been your thing with screenwriting? What surprised you? What completely threw you? What did you like?
I like that it's so many less words than a novel.
But then it's not as much. It's just as much work, though, isn't it? I mean, we spent years working on this.
Much more work. Yes, it's exactly. It's a equivalent amount of work in a different way, because you have to make the dialogue really work in a non-clunky, exposition-heavy way. Which you actually, by the way, you do have to do that in novels too. But you know what I mean. And what's the thing I found difficult about it is that apparently I'm not allowed to write paragraphs and paragraphs setting up each scene.
You can, but no one's going to read it.
No, you taught me that, Mark. I'm very, very grateful to you for that.
Sorry, George has got a comment. What was that?
I was going to ask, what kind of a horror movie? Like, is it psychological? Is it slasher? Or...
Oh, well, she doesn't want to give it away.
Yeah, I will say supernatural horror, because that's my bag. I love that. I love it to be bloody terrified by a ghost. So, and you don't really see scary ghost movies anymore. There's got to be.
Apart from Mike Flanagan's kind of, that's, and he's gone soft now, hasn't he? So yeah.
I mean, the last supernatural thing I saw actually was Mike Flanagan. It was Hill House. After that, it was rubbish. Apologies to you, Mike. And if you're watching,
we'll cut that from the final podcast.
I was hopeful for the presents, but that didn't scare me. So it's like, I just want to be blimmin' scared. One of the first times I was really, really scared as a kid, one of the first times I was really, really scared was reading the Red Room scene in Jane Eyre when little girl Jane thinks that she's being haunted. But also watching The Innocents, which
God,
yeah,
it's terrifying. It is genuinely terrifying. Yeah,
scared the flared trousers off me. So
and Mike Flanagan stole everything from that film. Everything in his stuff. Yeah, and
it's so scary. And so I would really like to write something not in that kind of, not a period. Not even a haunted house, but something that gives you that sense of sort of dread. Is what my ambitions, where they lie.
That's a good ambition to have. I'd like to do the same one day as well. It's because Innocence, isn't that based on Turn of the Screw as well? Henry James. That's Deborah Carr. Oh my
gosh, so and the kid whose name I can't remember. Oh my God, the one who plays Miles is so good.
It's terrific. It is. I need to watch it again now. I need to show you that one, George. Add that to the list. The Innocents. We've got a list of films. George, he's adding stuff to the list. Have we had any more questions from the good folk who are joining us live on the live stream? If you're listening to us on the podcast and you're thinking, I want to ask questions of amazing authors, then join us on the next live stream. Details of which coming up. Yeah, here we go. Kate Becker said, have you seen The Boy? Or him?
Is that about a big life-size doll? Because if it is, then I have. If it's not, then I haven't.
Let us know if that's the case, Kate. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Go on. You were going to say?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, fine. Well, let's get on to the joyful section of the live stream. What is bringing you joy at the moment?
Murderbot. I love Murderbot. It's like, it's surprising. So it's on Apple TV. It's starring Alexander Skarsgård as Murderbot, who is genderless, very much like Rory.
Yes. He's got that Ken kind of front body, if you know what I mean.
He's got a Ken front body, but no bits. And no, I have seen that. I have seen that one, Kate. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments. Murderbot. So it's a sci-fi, and you might think from the title, and it's based on I think it's a graphic novel.
No, it's a novel. It's a whole series of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you might think from the title that it is like violent, sort of Terminator style sci-fi, but it's actually completely charming. And yes, there is some horror in it, like, you know, somebody's head does explode, but at its heart, it's really wholesome, and it's all about people trying to be good and trying to be kind to one another, and including Murderbot. So it is just very funny and wholesome and uplifting, with a smattering of exploding heads.
Yeah, I loved it. I genuinely loved it. It's based on the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, which I want to read those now. But
I hadn't read them, but I'm definitely going to now. Yeah.
Something that next on your list is something I think has been bringing us all joy, and I'm glad we waited till after the final for this one as well. So the Lionesses,
and their second, are you listening, England men's team, second Euro championship. So proud of them, because we were going to do this when they just got into the semi-final, which was very exciting. But obviously, of course, yesterday they won the trophy, and I think what's great about them is that they just keep going. They don't give up hope, and it's like, if you want a metaphor for writing, it's like always rush the goalie, because you never know what's going to happen.
It's the resilience. It's that they've really got in spades. You know, there was a point during the Spain final I was thinking, well, you know what? There's no shame in losing to Spain. They're a fantastic team, really, really formidable team. You know, and then boom, you know, Russo scores a goal, and it's suddenly and the energy is there again. It's
they never give up. They don't give up till the whistle goes, and I think that's kind of a good metaphor for life, really.
Absolutely,
that and
really
always goalie.
Yeah. Now, next on the list is probably going to be my film of the year, unless something amazing really comes along. Sinners, which is just fantastic, directed by Michael B. Jordan. This was terrific, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved this movie. It just took my breath away. And it's been a really long time since I've seen something that I haven't seen before. And that's this movie. It kind of ticked all of even just thinking about it now, I've got goosebumps. And I don't want to spoiler it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but there's one particular scene in it that just is completely unmatched. It's so beautiful and moving and original, and carefully thought out and brilliantly shot and cast, and the actors all do absolute top-notch jobs. There's just nothing about it that I don't really adore, and I can watch it. And it's one of the very rare films that I have already watched it 4 or 5 times, that I will watch on a loop and be really happy to watch it every single time and see something new every single time as well. It was just masterful.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the Blu-ray of that when it comes out. The other thing you mentioned was painting, which you will put these up on social media. Tell us, I mean, this, you know, another creative outlet for you. What joy does this give you that writing doesn't, perhaps?
I think the good thing about this is that I just do it for fun. So there's no stakes involved. I'm not trying to well, actually, I mean, I have tried to get on Landscape Artist of the Year, never had any luck. But but in a way, that in itself was good, because it made me just kind of pick up my paintbrushes again. And for 20 years, I didn't paint or draw at all. And it's a lovely meditative way for me to do something creative that isn't high stakes. And so yesterday, I made a painting for my friend, and it was just lovely, because for the whole day it was just me 2 pots of ink, some paper, and a pen, and I worked on that all day long, listening to an audiobook. And at the end of the day, I just felt completely relaxed and calm and fulfilled. I'd done something that was just made me very happy without worrying about what other people think about it.
Yeah, that's a great feeling. And the last on your list, we've mentioned them already, your amazing dogs. So
my babies. Yeah, I love it. I mean, so the great thing is, and one of the reasons that I wrote the good point is that I think dogs do such a good job of keeping you in the moment and in the present, and also showing you what joy there is in things that you might forget to look at, like a lovely empty beach that they can run on, and things that are present every day in life that they always greet it with enthusiasm and joy, and you might not. So that's kind of one of the lessons that I've learned from my dogs.
Wonderful. I'm going to quickly run through the things that are giving me joy this month. First of all, we've got the animated series Invincible, which this one George got me into. Yeah, he's punching the air. This is so incredibly super violent. It gets a bit much, even for me, but it's got such a great voice cast, and its heart is totally in the right place. And in a world of superhero glut, it is something a bit different. I really, really enjoyed it. What I'm reading at the moment, I'm reading a great book called How to Write a Fantasy Battle by Susanna Roundtree. And I'm reading this while The End of Gods, which has a big battle in it, is with my editor. So hopefully by the time the book comes back to me, I'll have learned a few things. But it's really great at making military strategy and tactics and all those bits and bobs a lot more fathomable. It's ebook only, I believe, but it's available on all platforms. And in terms of things that I've been listening to a lot of CMAT at the moment, who I saw at Glastonbury, and she's got a new album coming, and there's a great new song on there called the Jamie Oliver Petrol Station, where she talks about hating Jamie Oliver, but also hates herself for it as well. And the other thing that's been bringing me joy, now hear me out on this one, shoelaces, right? Now last week, this is how sad my life is. I went to Quick and Neat in Herne Bay, right? I needed new shoelaces for my DMs and for my trainers, okay? And I'd go to Sainsbury's and just get them off the rack or whatever, and they'd be the wrong size and blah. Now, the last time I went to this guy, I needed the right kind of cherry red polish for my DMs, and he spent about 10 minutes with me going through it. So I thought, when I'm going to get laces, I'm going to go to him. Similar thing, measuring them all up, making sure they're the right size, the thickness and everything. So shop local, people. You're going to get that expertise. You're going to get that personal service that you don't get elsewhere. So yeah, do that. The other thing that's bringing me joy as well are Comic-Cons. So I'm going to be all over the place in the next month. So on the 3rd of August, I'm going to be at the Northampton Comic-Con. Northampton. I'm going to have to get up at 5 in the morning to make it to this one. So I hope someone turns up for that. I'm sure they will. These ones are always really, really great fun. On the 9th and 10th of August, I'm going to be at the Canterbury Gaming Convention. What's an author doing at a gaming convention, you may ask? Well, there are going to be other authors there. This is generally a lot like a Comic-Con, big focus on gaming, but lots. There's just stuff for absolutely everyone. And then 16th and 17th of August, I'm going to be at For the Love of Fantasy, which is a whopping great convention at the Excel Centre in London. I think basically the whole cast of Lord of the Rings are going to be there as well. It looks really, really cool. So hopefully I might see a few people at that one. And then my last con for August is going to be at Coventry on the Sunday 24th of August. Now, the day before that hasn't been announced yet, but I think I'm doing something with Ben Aronovich at Staines Library. Keep that to yourself. It hasn't been announced, but when it does, join up to my newsletter and you'll be the first to find out. And that's it for this month. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of Creative Differences. You'll find all the links we discussed in the show notes for this episode and on the episode's webpage at Mark's Day Creative Differences. A huge thanks to George for his assistance today, to Kai Newton for the edit, and Dominic Curry for the jingle. Shall we hear that amazing jingle one more time? And of course, a huge thank you to my special guest, Rowan Coleman, and to everyone who's joined us live tonight. Now, if you're listening to the audio podcast or rewatching this on Facebook or YouTube, thank you very much. But we really missed you. We really missed you, and you're more than welcome to join us live next month. Speaking of which, next month's special guest is G.D. Wright. Gary is the author of the best-selling After the Storm, which I've read and is a proper page-turner, and Into the Fire, which I've got but haven't read yet, and I've got huge FOMO because everyone's raving about it. Genuinely one of the nicest guys in the business with an extraordinary tale to tell. He was a copper, then due to health issues, he had to retire at age 30. And if you know Gary at all or follow him online, you'll know he's had a few challenges this year, to say the least of it. But he's come through. He'll be joining me live Tuesday, 26th of August, and you can join us too. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, things like ratings, reviews, likes, shares, these all help massively with those AI algorithms. But more importantly, if you can just tell one person about this podcast, that will make the biggest difference. Word of mouth is the best marketing there is. Rowan, thank you so much for joining us today. You've been absolutely amazing, as always. We're not meeting tomorrow, are we? We've got a day off, haven't we? Well, I'm meeting. I'm meeting other people in the real world. But I'll probably see you the day after. Actually, what will probably happen, because we've been working the script we've been working on.
So.
Okay. Oh dear.
We'll make our plans off the air.
Yes. Probably best not to do it live on a live stream. But yes, thank you so much, everyone. And until next time, happy writing. And this is where we wave at the camera like the end of a TV show from the 70s. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye. I'll bring George up as well. Bye. Bye. Bye.